Let me say this to you, man. My boy Garry Cobb has been talking sports in Philadelphia for a long time. And what we saw yesterday, before we get into the NFL, let me say this, man. Everyone shits all over Carson Wentz and how people look at Carson Wentz out the door. 15 points by your MVP and Joel Embiid. Tobias Harris, I see him in the first half. You pay that guy $40 million. And then you have Embiid come out and go like this. James and I can't win the series alone. Man, you throw the rest of your team and your coach under a bus like that. That had to be one of the most embarrassing moments in Philadelphia sports history. Let me get G Cobb in here, man. Garry, am I right?
That's all everybody's talking about. You know they're talking about it today. I mean, and then afterwards, somebody's got to tell him, you're over there yucking it up with a dude just scored 51 points on you, blew you guys out of there, and you're over there, like, hey, look, you guys could be boys. But if you know anything about Philadelphia, you are not over there like ha, 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 and everything. No, this ain't no time for no ha, 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 ha. That was a bad decision for him to do that after the game. I'm going like, man, dude, don't do that, and I mean, he is getting roasted every bit away, every bit away, man. I mean, they're roasting him. I mean, the kids, you go into the store, kids are outside roasting him, man. That was not a good way to be. You don't want to do that, man. You play like that, and then, like I said, after the game, dude.
I know, the hugging.
Come on, man. Now, you give a dude, okay, man,
yeah.
all right. You could talk to him later if you want to talk to him, because, after you get dressed and you can come out, you guys want to talk. If you're boys, because I know you got some boys on the team. Okay. You're going to stand there after that humiliation. Now, losing is one thing. Getting run out of the building. Come on, man. And you know that you guys didn't show up, man. Come on. You know that you did not show up. I mean, come on. You got to know better than that, man. And,
How about this, Garry?
What's that?
Tell me I'm wrong. And again, you've been covering Philadelphia sports for decades. I threw this out. The Marquez Fultz, the Ben Simmons, the Jimmy Butler decision, the Harden trade, everyone questioned him in the postseason, and it's actually been solidified. Plus, Embiid is the only MVP as of right now to have never reached the conference finals that has won that award. I mean, the organization that Josh Harris runs.
Yes.
Is it me? Is it a front office thing? Is it an ownership thing? Because they can't get any decisions right.
Well, I think that, these guys are not terrible, I mean, they got to the
but look at
game.
those decisions, Garry. I mean,
know.
Everyone's wrong.
I know. I mean, they just have not been able to pull it together. I mean, like when you're losing a seventh game, see, now you had to get to that seventh game, but you're playing against a good team. I mean, it was going to be a close game. Everybody expected a close game, a respectable game. If you lose, but to not show up. I mean, and then, I'm going to see somebody diving on the floor for a ball or something, please. But not that type of performance where you just
there was no guts.
Yeah, it just seemed like they just fell apart.
There was no guts. And let me get over to
well, if I just say this about the fact is now, that's why you got to give, the Eagles aren't treated like that, because Jalen Hurts he just would not allow that, man. The dude is, he's looking at everybody in the eye, man. Hey, we're going out here. We're getting ready to go to war, and we are going to fight. And, come on, man. That's all. I tell you, he needs to go over there and give a talk to those guys. Come on, man.
Absolutely. I mean, the way he conducts himself, we're going to talk a little more about that here in a minute, but I want to get over to the schedule release and all this from a week ago and get your opinion on this now, because the Eagles are going to have the toughest schedule in the upcoming NFL season. and all the great quarterbacks that they're going to be playing. Garry, I made this comment last week, and I said that the 2023 season is going to define Hurts because we're going to look at him going against Josh Allen. We're going to look at him going against Patrick Mahomes. We're going to look at them going against all these great coaches.
Yeah.
And we're going to have an opinion on him that's either going to be better or maybe even less because, I mean, look, when we look at Josh Allen this year, people look at Josh Allen going, got to protect the ball more, son. You can't be reckless like that. You've got to show up to those big games because now all of a sudden you're making a pause on Allen a little bit on his postseason play. So am I right when I say that about Jalen? This is going to define him.
Well, it's going to define him now. I mean, because clearly, what I look at that schedule, I mean, when they come around that corner, boy, whew,
oh, yeah.
My goodness. So, they're going to have time to see, and we're going to find out a lot about a lot of people. But, of course, Jalen is going to be out there, and we will see. Now, I got to see what they're going to do, the different changes they're going to make. You're going to see some subtle changes, listening to the coordinators last week and seeing what they had to say. And, I'm really interested. They got a lot of work to do because, defensively, they got some work to do. The defensive coordinator is a good talker and everything. They got work to do because you got these young kids. They got to grow up quickly,
Absolutely.
This is not, for kids. So they got to grow up immediately, and you got to get something out of them. So what can you get out of them right now? Because they need something out of them. Time they show up. They don't have a year to chill out. No, they got to produce some stuff right away. These young kids, because they got holes in the defense that those kids hopefully will be able to fill.
They're definitely up the middle too here.
Yeah.
I want to tie something that happened in the NBA to Jalen Hurts here, and I think this is kind of what maybe gives us a little bit more of an understanding why the Eagles believe in him, trust him, and love him as the face of the franchise. And I want to get your thoughts on how much you think an organization has to really sometimes look at guys with character. Maybe tie this into Jalen Carter a little bit too.
Woo,
So John Morant. So John Morant.
I thought that's
is
where
flashing a gun.
Yeah.
And Memphis Grizzlies in the NBA have suspended him. Again, he's broken no crimes or anything, but obviously there's a look, there's children, people are impressionable.
Yes.
You are an employee of the NBA. I think you hold an obligation to how you conduct yourself and how you represent an organization. And they have every right, Garry, to put these guardrails in. And this made me even think more that if you're the Eagles, you're looking at Jalen Hurts going, man, that's exactly why they believe in him. They trust him. And then when you look at Jalen Carter, do you think the Eagles have an obligation to put guardrails around him? Because, again, guys' characters being put in question here. How much responsibility do you think the Eagles are looking at this now saying, hey, look, we don't want to have it. I am not saying at all he's going down the John Morant route. However, he was in a situation where a couple people passed away.
Yeah.
And they held him accountable to a point. What's the obligations of the Eagles to keep this in check here? Or is it?
It clearly is an obligation. I mean, it's something that they're taking on. They know that that's why he was there. That's why he was there at number 9. I mean, if that incident had not happened, he would not have been there. So this is something that, I think is definitely something that has to be discussed. I don't think that, I know because of some of the legalities and different things from a lawyer perspective and all that, they're not discussing that publicly, and they're not going to ask him to speak to that publicly because from what I understand, he has been his legal people let him know, look, don't discuss this publicly. But clearly it's something that's got to be discussed. It's a legitimate question because of what happened, because of the the situation. So it's there. That's why I say, look, he does not have time to come in and go through the motions. No, it's football, and keeping your nose clean, man. That's what it's got to be. So that's not something they can play with, because, you let anything happen. I mean, something that's might be harmless or not that a big a deal in some kind of other situation, but anything off the field is major news. Anything he were to do, anything off the field. So,
and you know what, Gary, I want to make it clear to people, I would still draft him. And I think that the Bears were right, because I heard Poles talking over the weekend saying, we don't have that equity and culture in our locker room yet. We don't have what Philadelphia has. And what Jason Kelsey said too. Yeah. I'm not changing my boat here saying I wouldn't have drafted him, because to me, look at what he has, Gary. Yeah. We just talked about the Sixers. You have a great owner. You have a general manager. You have a winning environment.
Yes.
You're coming off an NFC team.
Yes.
You have people that coached you, recruited you, you played with.
Yes.
You have everything set up for you. How many times, Gary, have you ever seen that as a player where you have all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted? It doesn't work like that kind of perfect world like that. So
that's right.
If he fails, he fails, but I would have still had no problem giving him the opportunity.
He does have a tremendous situation because of the people that are already there. These are guys that he grew up with, because, the guys in college really, and you get close to the guys in the pros that you play with and everything. But the guys in college, come on, you knew them when you were a kid, okay? You grow up together. I mean, I think about, some of the guys, Ronnie Lott. Man, I knew Ronnie Lott, he was younger. So he's a kid, you knew him then. So that's why when you see guys grow up, this tremendous accomplishment and everything. Marcus Allen, I knew him when he was a high school kid coming in there to visit. And then you see him, of course, as an adult. So we see each other now. I mean, it's a special time, because you knew a guy before he even became a man. And that's what he has going for him. And he's got some guys that grew up. And so they can talk to him in a different way, because, you're closer, and so that's what they're going to be counting on, for those guys to speak into his life, to say, hey, man, look, we worked all this way. We came up together. Come on. We remember when, you're going down the street, you don't have no money, and, stuff like. So now with all they have there, you do not want to mess up this opportunity. This is a tremendous opportunity. And so the guys can get more real with them, guys you've known all that time, that I'm sure these guys knew each other when they were in high school, because they were all flourishing in the same kind of area, and they're all great players. So the guys. You get to meet each other when they have an all-star, anything. So they've known him a long time. So, it's going to be as good of atmosphere as you can have.
Gary, that I haven't really said publicly too much, and it's about Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Ray had an unfortunate death in a dorm room when he was at UM. Then, of course, the Atlanta case popped up.
Yeah.
And that whole fiasco. Whole bunch of Miami guys that played with him, and all of us and everybody said, man, these people are dragging you down. You're either going to be revered or you're going to be reviled. Right now, you're reviled. Seeing Ray Lewis in handcuffs and leg irons, we were all like, come on, man, you got to let go. It sometimes it is that, Gary, because isn't it that you're raised around and you've got your boys with you.
Yeah.
And it's almost like divorcing your friends, and they call you sellout, this and that. But I can't tell you how many people told Ray, hey, man, you've got to let some of the people around you go here, because they're not helping you. They're hurting you. Maybe that's, again, what we're talking about with environment here with the Eagles, and having all those productive guys and people like Nolan Smith around them.
Without a doubt. I mean, he's got a lot of people that are his best friends, guys, like I said, he's been through, got a lot of history with already. and they're stand-up guys. So that's a big plus. And I think that's probably, something the Eagles know that they have that's kind of an assurance to where you can make sure that he's in an environment that's going in the right direction. And that's a strong plus because a lot of times, ultimately that's what it comes down to. Who are you hanging around? It's that simple. If you're, if you're around the right people, they pull you in the right direction. Keep your mind right, and that's something that you couldn't put a price on it. It is very valuable, and it's something that in the situation that the Eagles are, that's part of their investment. And so
absolutely,
I think they feel
Gary,
good
I can't
about
wait
that.
to see how this whole thing shakes out. Sixers now around tea time, so they'll be down in the Caymans. I'm sure about it, man. I wouldn't show my face around that city right now if I was any of them dudes. Seriously, I'd wear a mask.
I was telling them guys, when I was seeing them doing that yucking after the game and everything, I'm going, dude, you just need to tell somebody to pick your stuff up. You need to go to wherever you're going. Don't come through here, man, because
all I tell you is this, man. Hey, all I know is this, man. Jesse James used a gun and a mask when he robbed the bank. Those guys, man. Hey, man. Gary, let me go, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, have a good one. All right.
You got it. Gary Cobb, Fox 29, Philadelphia. Don't forget our good friend. Absolutely. Please hit the like button. Honestly, man, when Jesse James walked into the bank and he robbed banks, he had a gun and a mask. I don't know what the Sixer dudes were doing. Hugging it up at the end. Let me get out of here, man. Hit the like button. Don't forget, Rick Barry is going to light into them. He texts me, man. He goes, what an embarrassing moment. Here's a guy who's a Finals MVP, Hall of Famer, and he's going to give it to us. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern time. I do have the Big Sills review, my preseason review of how many wins I think all 32 teams are going to have. I'm going to do that next. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.